All right, everyone, I just want to notify every single investor and viewer that there will be two ticker symbols to stay tuned for. So the one that is coming in first towards the end of this video is the one we talked about towards the end of last week. And I have a new one that you definitely want to keep an eye on going into this week. So stay tuned for more information on that. And I hope you guys learned something new from the video, find it helpful and worthwhile. So stay tuned for all the information on the charts and the ticker symbols that we will be looking at and going over their charts as well. Stay tuned. All right, everyone, here we are with ticker symbol Nndm, Nano Dimension. And before we jump into this chart, I want to say welcome to all the first-time viewers and investors. Welcome to the channel, Invest for Tomorrow. To all the subscribers, welcome back. And as we dive into this chart, I do want every single investor and viewer to be aware that I have a new ticker symbol to share with you guys towards the end of this video. So stay tuned for more information on that. And it's a semiconductor company you may have never heard of. We haven't talked about it here. And this sector is hot and the revenue is growing and the chart is showing it as well. So stay tuned for more information. So here we are. Nano Dimensions. Sideways movement. I mean, it breaks through resistance and it's kind of just sitting sideways from where it started. It hit a high here of about 16.13. And it's falling back down to the $15 mark. So we're going to see our new resistance and support in just a moment, but I want us to look at how ARK Invest is reacting. So on the 11th, which was Thursday, okay, they had 7,039,903 shares. When you look at what they had by yesterday at the end of the day, which is the 12th, Friday, 7,126,513 shares. So they loaded up big time here, okay? This is a pretty big move here from ARK Invest, and they're now sitting well above the 7 million mark. They've been jumping around from these numbers back down to 6,900,000 or 800,000, but it seems like they're loading up extremely fast and significantly to change this up. So here we are with ARKW. This was on Thursday on the 11th. 4,882,056 shares. So when you look at that, they're getting pretty close to 5 million shares. Well, they certainly are getting every single time even closer, because now they have on the 12th, which was yesterday, Friday, on ARKW, 4,927,308 shares. So as I've stated in the previous videos, when ARK Invest sees Nano Dimensions going downwards or kind of staying sideways, they're loading up on shares extremely fast for both of their ETFs, mainly for ARKW. When it goes slightly up, like we saw here, a significant jump from like around 15 to almost $18, 17.80, 17.70, give or take, that's when I've seen them sell, but not from ARKW, if not from ARKQ. So I'm waiting to watch for that type of movement, a nice jump of $1 or $2 to see how they react. Do they load up on more or do they sell? But ARKW has always been loading up, and I think that it's because it's below 5 million in shares. So they just want to keep on getting as much as they can. But to see ARK Invest, regardless, holding a large position within these numbers, they see opportunity. I've always said this, but I'm always here to double check and see how they're really reacting, because just because ARK Invest sells or buys, it's not supposed to tell us, oh, Nano Dimensions is a buy, oh, Nano Dimensions is a sell. We have to do further digging and research, but it does help understand how institutional investors, right, are feeling, and specifically ARK Invest when it comes to how they've been positioning themselves in Nano Dimensions, and also because Nano Dimensions had so many offerings back to back, and ARK Invest was positioning themselves within those offerings, buying large amounts of shares. That says everything. And other institutional investors as well were jumping in on these offerings. So it just lets us know how the ones that participating and loading up on shares, how they feel, right? And it lets us have a different perspective. So right now, the stock is just kind of in a downward spiral, but holding itself up pretty well within these numbers. I mean, yes, it spiked up to almost $18 once, happened almost again, and it's falling back down, and it's kind of just hanging out sideways. So when we look at this in a broader perspective, it's holding itself up really well from any lows down here, and even this low of $13. So we're going to have to see how this plays out moving forward. How is it going to react? You know, this next week is a big week for Nano Dimensions, and the more ARK Invest continues to buy, even when it's going down, the more it seems to be an opportunity based off of how the institutional investors are acting like ARK Invest. So here we are with our 50-day moving average and the price. 1554 is the 50-day moving average. Anything below that, we are in bearish territory. Anything above that, we're in bullish territory. So right now we're in tug of war zone. Our support level is 1497. If that gets broken through, the next one is 1456. So if 1497 gets broken through, you want to see how this is reacting between 1497 and also 1456 to see if the bulls are trying to reappear and bring it back up, or are the bears tearing this one down fairly fast. Very important to keep that in mind. Now, the bulls want to break through the 50-day moving average to get back into bullish territory, but they need to break through resistance. And the first resistance before this collapse going into bearish territory officially so far is 1576. That needs to be broken through by the bulls and turn into a support so that the bulls can pull further away from the 50-day moving average in the upward direction and reach newer highs and new resistance levels. Now, the highest point reached in the day is 1613. That definitely needs to be broken through, but before getting there, 1576 needs to be tested and proven and turn into a support so that the bulls can continue to pull upwards. As always, if you found this video helpful and informative, please do so and subscribe. Don't forget to click on the bell to turn on all notifications and not miss a single video that I post. Share this with your friends and community, and don't forget to hit the like button to let me know you watched this video. Stay tuned to the end because I have a ticker symbol you won't want to miss, and you definitely want to add it to your watch list. So for everyone that has stayed to this point in the video, the ticker symbol I'm about to share with you guys is in the semiconductor sector. And we've talked about several semiconductor sector companies, but this is a new one that just recently ran, and I'm looking for it to cool off. And I definitely want to advise every single investor and viewer to watch this one carefully for a cool off or a pullback because things ran up a little too quick. But let's look at its chart. The ticker symbol is AMKR. Now, they've been growing exponentially over the year, right? After hitting lows of 540 and some change, leading up to this point here of a high of $25. Now, it's pulling back pretty steeply, right, in the last day and last trading day, and we just had a wild run from $18 to $25. So things definitely need to cool off or consolidate before showing any signs of opportunity. Now, what I do want every single investor to be aware of is the market cap. It's $5 billion, and how revenue has grown, right, over the years. Now, the last 3 years, right, 2017, 2018, 2019, was about $4 billion. And then on 2020, which was the last year, on the fourth year, it went up to $5 billion. Now, the most important thing out of all of this is that net income increased. Now, it was pretty good in 2017, but it increased again in 2020, and we're seeing that upward trend. And 2021 might show signs of opportunity for more growth. So here we are with the revenue and the net income being $300 million compared to almost 50% of that the years before. Now, the quarterly shows you how it grew, and also earnings just recently got beat. That's why we saw that run. Earnings just continues to get beat, and that's another interesting thing about this company. It just keeps on crushing earnings, and that's how you see that revenue and net income growth as well here. So if this grows, earnings is being beat, and if earnings is being beat, the stock price grows as well, because more revenue, more profit, more value to the stock, more value to the market cap of the company. So that's why we saw such a run recently, and we need to watch it carefully. I definitely want to see this cool off, but this is one in the semiconductor company and sectors that have opportunity to continue to expand and grow. Now, all these smaller companies compared to IBM, Nvidia, Intel, AMD, they have opportunity to take every slice of the pie of the whole market share of this sector. Now, some will be bigger than others, but they all have opportunity to grow as they continue to get their pieces or slices of the full pie. So I do want every single investor to be aware that semiconductor sector overall is definitely one to be digging into, diving into, and looking for companies that are getting out of the hole, especially like one like this one. This one was profitable every single year, which is pretty good. There's some that were never profitable, and also their revenue are terrible compared to this one. Revenue's always been pretty decent, and it's growing now. So 2021 might be the year for growth to continue and even moving forward. I mean, as AI intelligence becomes more of a norm and all these autonomous driving and all these different technologies for vehicles, computers, software, and just even robots, right? And I'm not saying robots that are human-like. I'm talking about robots that already exist to upgrade them to newer levels, like robots that move boxes around and stuff, and also shipment and drones and all these different things that are necessary to continue to proceed in innovation. And semiconductor companies are taking a big market share in this movement. As always, guys, I hope you guys find these videos helpful and informative. I'm not here to tell you guys to buy, sell, or hold any positions on AMKR or any ticker symbols that we discuss here. I'm just here to enlighten everyone on opportunities and ticker symbols that are growing, showing potential. But I definitely want every single investor to be aware that this needs to cool off or consolidate before anything that we can understand more about this chart in the short term. But in the long term, we've already seen it. It's been growing and the potential is there. It took off right now, so we wanted to cool off, but definitely we want to see how it continues to behave leading into the future and months to come. But there is room in the sector overall, and this may be one of those that's looking like an opportunity. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and let's make some money. So for everyone that has stayed to this point in the video, the ticker symbol that I'm about to share with you guys is GNUS Brands International Inc., GNUS. So this one had a run towards the end of January and the beginning of February. It fell, and the lowest point that it reached was down here around the 170 mark, brought itself back up to 220, and it's kind of sitting in the middle. So we want to see if it pulls back just a slight more or continues to consolidate before the next catalyst, or will it start to run up? So going into this week on Tuesday, which is tomorrow, you definitely want to have this on your radar and watch this. Keep a close eye on it. Volume has been pretty low. So the first indicator to let us know that there's potential or momentum here is knowing the volume and then watching the inflow versus the outflow, or the outflow versus the inflow, to understand where the volume is being allocated. Because right now volume is low. If there's a spike in volume, we want to watch if it's going downwards. Well, that means there's more outflow. And if it starts going upwards and having a catalyst and momentum, a lot more inflow. So this definitely is an opportunity to learn how charts move and how certain ticker symbols move according to volume and what's going on with investor sentiment, which then reflects in the graph. So if you don't know much about this company, this is definitely more of a learning experience for investors. But if you have played this one before or you understand it, this is definitely an opportunity to keep a close eye on this one and keep it on your watch list for Tuesday going into Wednesday starting this week, and seeing where the momentum drives this one, because volume has died down a bit and the average volume in the last 10 days was about 72 million. So we want to see if there's a spike in volume, because if it starts going upwards this week, we could start to see this move upwards as well, as long as the inflow is beating the outflow. So there's so much to analyze and see your different indicators, what they're showing as the day starts. But this is definitely one you want to watch. Very speculative. Now, long term, there's opportunity here, but you have to understand the business platform and more about this stock and do more research. But I do want every single investor and viewer to be aware that this is an opportunity to learn, or definitely want to have on your watch list as the week starts. Thank you guys, as always, for watching, and let's make some money.